Hello everyone and welcome to another edition of Gametime Situation. I'm Chip Whipple and this is Brian. Hold on, you're not Vale. Apparently Vale is taking the week off this week. This is Brendan Bittner.
We have a fantastic show tonight filled with all the latest Ashland athletics.
That's right, we'll wrap up all the winter sports as well.
And we'll let everyone know how the spring teams are faring in their opening weeks.
And it's tournament time in Division I hoops and we'll let you know who we think will win it all.
We better get the March Madness started.
Well, what time is it?
It's game time. Hoop!
The women's basketball team went into the first round of the GLIAC tournament on a 3-game winning streak. The Eagles traveled to Gannon, attempting to avenge 2 one-point losses to the Golden Knights earlier in the season. Let's just say Ashland let out their frustration on Gannon. The Eagles took an early 15-7 lead and never let up. At halftime, the Eagles held a 34-19 advantage and ended up winning the game easily by a score of 70-45. 4 Eagles got into double figures with junior guard Lisa Grau leading the way with 13 points. Not only did Grau lead the team in scoring, but completely stuffed the stat sheet with 4 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 blocks, and 3 steals. Against AU's frustrating defense, Gannon shot a dismal 30.4% from the field and turned the ball over 26 times. That is not going to win you many ball games. Only Ashley Loudermilk scored in double figures for Gannon as she dropped in 12 points, but turned the ball over a game-high 8 times. With the win, Ashland moved on to the semifinals of the GLIAC tournament. The event took place at Michigan Tech, with the Eagles playing Ferris State on their side of the bracket. Brendan, did Ashland continue their postseason run in the Upper Peninsula?
Yes, they did. Did you want more than that, Chip?
I did want a little bit more.
Okay, the Eagles went up to the UP and knocked off the Bulldogs 56-45. The Eagles never trailed in the game and took a 10-point lead into the half. Junior forward Betsy Morrison came off the bench to lift the Eagles. She had 15 points and 13 boards for the double-double. Both teams shot 32% in the game, and with points at a premium, the difference came at the free throw line. Ashland was 15 of 17 from the stripe. The Eagles also defended the three-point line very well, forcing Ferris to shoot just 2 for 17 from long range. Jenna Guay led the Bulldogs with 13 points. The win pushed the Eagles into the GLIAC championship game to face host Michigan Tech, whom they beat in the UP earlier this season. Tell us what happened in the title game, Chip.
I'd be glad to. So I'll set the stage. The Eagles needed to beat Michigan Tech at Tech in order to secure an automatic bid into the NCAA tournament. AU's only realistic shot at going dancing. This was also the 3rd time the Eagles had played in the championship game. The 2 previous times, the Eagles left with a loss. At the start of the contest, the Huskies jumped to an early 8-0 lead, nailing 2 three-pointers. Ashland fell further behind before fighting back to a 28-23 game with 5 minutes remaining in the half. The 2 teams went back and forth to end the half, with Tech leading 40-33. The Huskies shot phenomenal in the first half, including making all 8 of their 3-point attempts. Certainly, Tech would have to cool off in the second. With Tech leading 48-40 with about 14 minutes to go in the game, the Huskies went on a 9-0 run that basically ended the postseason for the Eagles. When it was all over, Tech won the game convincingly, 81-53. Tech finished the game shooting 59.2% from the field and 73.7% from the three-point line. Ashland did not fare nearly as well, shooting only 28.8% from the field and 33.3% from the three-point line. Sophomore guard Lindsey Gott led the Eagles with 11 points, and senior Elizabeth O'Brien finished her career with 8 points and 8 boards. Tara Ferris led the Huskies with 20 points on 7 of 9 shooting. So Ashland finished second, but not everyone left empty-handed. Gott and Morrison were both named to the GLIAC All-Tournament team. A couple of Eagles also received some awards for their great seasons. Both Grau and Morrison were named to the GLIAC South Division second team, and Grau also earned a spot on the GLIAC South Division all-defensive team. Ashland finishes their season with an overall record of 19-11. The women did pretty well in the GLIAC tournament. I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Bittner to see how the men's team did.
The men's team entered the GLIAC tournament as a wild card with a 7-10 conference record. They also took on Gannon up in Erie for a chance to advance to the semis. The men, however, were not as fortunate as the women as they fell to nationally ranked Gannon 89-70. The Golden Knights took a 16-11 lead with 12 minutes to play in the first half, but Ashland responded with a 9-0 run to capture a 4-point lead 3 minutes later. The Eagles would maintain that cushion into halftime. But Gannon picked up steam in the second half after AU's freshman center, Cale Richardson, tied the game at 41 with 14 minutes to play. The Knights went running on the Eagles and led by 10 less than 2 minutes later. From there, Gannon pulled away for the 19-point final margin. The Knights shot a robust 71% in the second half and 59% for the game. On the offensive end, Ashland had just 5 assists on 24 field goals. 4 Ashland players scored in double figures, led by junior forward Tyler Rosenberger's 19. In their final games as Eagles, guard Brett Bartlett added 14 points and guard Steve Gansey added 3. Richardson was named the GLIAC Freshman of the Year, and Bartlett and junior guard Brett Wackerly were named to the GLIAC second team. The Eagles closed the season 13-16 overall. Now, Chip will take us off the hardwood and onto the mats.
We've wrapped up hoops for another year, but it's time to see how the Grapplers finished up their season. On March 1st, the AU wrestling team traveled to Indianapolis to compete in the NCAA Division II Midwest Regionals. The top 4 placers in each weight class earned a trip to the national championship meet in Iowa. The Eagles had 5 wrestlers qualify for a chance at a national title. Senior Marcus Gordon won the 149 weight class, and junior Josh Ohl took home the other gold medal for the Eagles at 197. 2 wrestlers also took home runner-up spots for the Eagles. Freshman Muhammad Abdul-Rahman took home second at 157 and was named the region's Rookie of the Year. Not bad. Sophomore Kyle Kananga also took home silver at 141, and Justin Ferguson placed 4th at 174 to round out the placers for the Eagles. Well, Brendan, 5 Eagles made their way to nationals. How did they fare?
Well, Chip, 3 Eagle wrestlers placed at nationals. At 174 pounds, Justin Ferguson won All-American honors for the second year in a row. He finished 5th at nationals. Josh Ohl joined Ferguson on the All-American team, also finishing 5th at 197 pounds. Muhammad Abdul-Rahman continued his spectacular freshman season by finishing 6th at nationals. Kyle Kananga and Marcus Gordon were unable to place there. As a unit, the Eagles finished 11th at the national meet, where they finished 19th last season. Nebraska Kearney won the meet, just 1/2 point better than Minnesota State Mankato. We are not done with the winter sports yet, and when we come back, we'll be running in circles trying to get you up to date on all the action on the indoor track teams.
Hi, Mr. President. My parents believe that eating meals together will make our country strong. Is this something that you did when you were a kid?
I did eat with my family so long as my mother wasn't cooking.
It's not good making fun of your mother, even if you are president, but it is good to have dinner with your kids. We know the more often children have dinner with their families, the less likely they are to smoke, drink, and use drugs. So simply having dinner together can help your children forever, even if you're not a great cook.
Every trip, every time.
California, here I come!
Buckle up so you and your friends get home safely.
I must scream into the world from the top of someplace very high.
Seatbelts save lives.
Okay.
Visit NHTSA.gov.
Low and slow. Best friend, what are you going to do?
Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Transportation and the Ad Council.
That is spectacular advice.
My name's Andy McDonald. I ride this useless wooden toy for a living. It's hard. I've been doing it for 13 years. I'm still lame. I do a trick called a 540. Took me a good 6 years to learn. There's a whole generation of skateboarders out there that are just as talented athletically as any basketball or football player. It takes somebody that's not going to be afraid to fall down a lot, because you definitely will fall down. You're not a failure until you refuse to get back up. Drugs are only going to hinder what I'm trying to do. That right there is my idea of getting high.
You're a good driver, a careful driver, and you don't stand a chance. Not at a railroad crossing with bad sight lines and no lights or gates, where vegetation, buildings, or hills block your view, where you can't see the train and you only have seconds before it hits your safe, careful self. And you die. Go to angelsontrack.org to report dangerous crossings, because careful is just no match for a 200-ton locomotive.
We are back with more Game Time Situation. The AU men's track team had high hopes heading into the GLIAC championships as the top-ranked team in the country.
It's not bad. Number one.
Well, right, exactly. While they had several athletes perform very well, as a team, Ashland finished second at the meet. To who, Chip?
Michigan Tech?
Sorry, Grand Valley. Several AU athletes picked up the hardware for their mantles. Senior Brian Vickers won the shot put with a throw of 63 feet and 3.5 inches, a meet record. Vickers was named GLIAC Field Athlete of the Year. Senior Robert Klenk won the weight throw with a heave of 67 feet. Vickers finished fifth in that event. Senior Jerry Ezell topped the field in the 55-meter dash, and the 4x400 relay team claimed a GLIAC championship with a time of 3 minutes and 19.39 seconds. That team consisted of Nick Belanco, Jerry Ezell, Joe Horn, and Edwin Smith. The Eagles finished second at GLIACs. Chip, how did the qualifiers do at the national meet?
I think they did pretty well. The men's indoor track team traveled to Minnesota State Mankato this past weekend to compete in the NCAA Division II National Championships. The Eagles once again finished behind the Lakers of Grand Valley. The Eagles took home fifth place, while Grand Valley finished fourth. The overall team championship went to St. Augustine. On the individual side, Ashland had two men take home first place. Klenk finished first in the weight throw, with his teammate Vickers finishing in a close second. Vickers followed up his second place performance by taking home the gold in the shot put. Dan Tierney also placed for the Eagles, taking fourth in the pole vault, and the 4x400 meter relay team finished in fourth as well. Two Eagles also received awards during their trip. Head track and field coach Judd Logan was named the United States Track and Field and Cross Country Association's NCAA Division II Men's Coach of the Year, and Vickers is the organization's Male Field Athlete of the Year.
That's a long title.
That was a really long award. The athletes will look to continue their success in the spring as they open up their outdoor season this weekend at the Shamrock Invitational.
The women's indoor track team came into the GLIAC meet with similar expectations to the men's team, with the top national ranking in the balance. And as a team, they had a similar result to the men. They finished second in the meet behind, guess who?
Grand Valley.
Yes, exactly, Grand Valley. Several athletes performed very well at the meet. In the shot put, freshman Tara Cooper and sophomore Elise Bodarini improved their top distances to qualify for nationals. Senior Jen Tinney also added her name to the list of qualifiers to advance to nationals in the weight throw. Those three athletes topped everyone in the meet at the shot put. Tinney was first, Cooper was second, and Bodarini was third in the event. Cooper also won the weight throw, with junior Michelle Stark in second, Bodarini in third, and Jen Tinney in fifth. Steph Tinney won the championship in the 400-meter dash with a time of 57.06 seconds. The 4x400 meet relay team of Steph Tinney, Lisa Roth, Angelique Cunningham, and Alyssa Klein sprinted to second in the meet. So after strong performances at GLIACs, how did the Eagles manage at nationals, Chip?
Well, the women's indoor track team also headed up to Minnesota this past weekend to compete in the NCAA Division II National Championships. The women matched the men by also placing in fifth place. The Eagles got one up on Grand Valley, though, this time, as the Lakers finished in sixth place, 1 point behind Ashland. Adams State finished in first in the event. Taking a look at the individual competitions, Cooper won the national championship in the weight throw. Cooper beat out two other teammates as Ashland took 3 of the top 6 spots. Stark finished in second, and Bodarini took home 6th place. Klein had a productive weekend as she finished in 7th in the long jump and was the 4th to cross the finish line in the 60-meter hurdles. Tinney took home the bronze in the shot put. The women's team will look to parlay their indoor success into a good outdoor season this spring.
The women's swimming team had one qualifier for the national meet held last week. The 200-meter freestyle relay team finished 14th in the meet with a time of 1 minute and 37.92 seconds. That team consisted of junior Jennifer Knight, sophomore Jessica Hennick, senior Ashley Shoup, and freshman Allison Morgan. They're coming from all the classes today.
Yes, they are.
The men's swimming team also saw some success at the national meet in Columbia, Missouri. Freshman Eric Hackinson placed 7th in the 200 IM and 15th in the 200 freestyle. Freshman Derek Balo finished 19th place in the 1,000 freestyle. Congratulations to those athletes for their performances all season. We're going to take our second time out, but when we come back, we'll be taking a look at how the spring sports did over the break.
Does peace really have a chance within our lifetime? At Rotary, we believe it does. We've created programs at universities around the world, dedicated solely to teaching peace to a new generation. There's a new symbol for peace. Rotary.
This is a banana. This is a cat. This is fire. This is harmless and actually helpful to some people. Don't believe everything you hear. The fact is that every major health organization rejects smoked marijuana. Now that the smoke is cleared, discover truecompassion.org.
Look, my first tooth.
Dudley, spit out the toothpaste. That was the first time you brushed your teeth.
And I brush twice a day, every day.
Oh, here's that nice dentist, Dr. Benchley.
Yep, he showed me how to floss.
Why are your teeth blue?
I use my mouth guard whenever I play sports to protect my smile.
And visit the dentist regularly.
Remember, brush twice a day and floss once a day.
It's easy to tell if you've had way too many. But what if you've had just one too many? Buzz driving is drunk driving.
Welcome back. After starting the season 1-1 at Bellarmine, the baseball team traveled south to Fort Myers, Florida. Must have been warm down there. They avoided all the snow and the cold. They played 14 games in 11 days at the Gene Cusick Classic. The Eagle Bats were the story in the Florida sunshine. On the first 11 games of the trip, Ashland finished 8-3. It started with an 8-2 loss to St. Joseph's. AU then won a doubleheader with Assumption before falling 21-12 to Stonehill. The Eagles got on a roll with 4 straight wins over Lock Haven, Rockhurst, and 2 over Southwest Minnesota State. Next, Ashland fell to Southwest Minnesota State 6-5 in 8 innings. The next day, the Eagles swept a doubleheader from East Stroudsburg. And on March 14th, Ashland's Bats continued to stay alive. They beat Southern New Hampshire 12-5. Sophomore Jacob Petcack was 2 for 3 with 3 RBIs and 3 runs. Sophomore Ben Menard, a pitcher who is now also showing his stick, went 3 for 4 with a double and 2 RBIs. Freshman pitcher Andrew Pinkelman picked up the win for Ashland, throwing 7 innings and allowing 4 runs on 11 hits with 5 Ks. Sophomore lefty Jeremy Sloan gave up 1 run in the final 2 frames. Chip, how did the Eagles finish in their Florida swing?
I get it. You swing, you played on the bat thing. Right. The Eagles headed into their last weekend of their Florida trip on a 3-game winning streak, but the question is, would the winning continue? Ashland fell behind early to Nebraska Omaha 7-2 after 2 innings, but the Eagles completed an impressive comeback, scoring 2 runs in the 7th, 8th, and 9th innings to win the ballgame 11-9. In the game, the Eagles had 3 players hit 2-run homers: Quentin Eberhardt, Josh Kurson, and David Quiroga. The following day, the 2 teams met again in Ashland's last game of their annual Florida trip. This time, O&U, or as Uno, as I like to call him, had all the answers. The game was tied 4-4 after 3 innings, but Omaha broke the game wide open and won easily 14-5. Todd Schlenkerman pitched 6 innings for the Eagles and took the loss. After their trip, the Eagles find themselves with an 11-5 record and will open up GLIAC play this weekend at home against Grand Valley.
Salam.
Jam.
Salam. Ewa.
Rita. Apa? Pa.
Mir. Shanti.
Nhiệt sang nhóc đi.
We all want the same thing.
Peace.
And Rotary clubs
Sola.
are making it happen.
Lucky.
Through international scholarships for young people to promote peace and understanding
La Fei.
around the world. Rotary. Humanity in motion.
Everyone needs to have a great game plan to be successful. At a moment's notice, you and your family need to know what to do when a critical incident, severe weather, or natural disaster strikes. You can do your part by developing a successful game plan for your family. For an emergency checklist of tips on how to prepare your family, visit www.ready.ohio.gov.
We're back. That was our final time out of the program. We're going all out from here on. The baseball team was not the only AU squad to make their way down to Florida over the break. The softball team traveled to Orlando over spring break to play 14 games in 9 days. In the first 11 games, the Eagles were 7-4. The Eagles tried to shake the rust off early, but lost their first 2 games, 9-8 to Bellarmine and 4-1 to Minnesota State Moorhead. Ashland earned its first win of the year with an 8-0 shutout over St. Rose. Samantha Hendricks threw a complete game 3-hitter for the Eagles in the game. Something tells me this was not the best pitching performance by an Eagle on the trip. Ashland followed that game up with a 3-2 loss to West Virginia Westland. Hoping to turn their trip around, the Eagles won their next 4 games over Southern Indiana, Pfeiffer, Upper Iowa, and Southwest Minnesota State. Ashland then lost a 5-3 game in 8 innings to St. Xavier. AU bounced back, though, with a 3-1 win over Wisconsin Parkside and a 1-0 shutout over East Stroudsburg. In the Stroudsburg game, Hendricks pitched 5 1/3 innings while striking out 5. Now the question becomes, Brendan, did the Eagles continue to win?
The Eagles came into the season with a spot open in the rotation after the graduation of Jamie Williams. They may have found one of her replacements. Freshman Logan Hersey threw a complete game in a 1-0 loss to Minnesota State Mankato. They've come up a few times.
Yes, they have.
She allowed just 3 hits and struck out 2. Hersey followed her stellar performance with one that was even stellar-er.
I don't think that's a word.
Maybe not. She tossed a no-hitter the next day against Chestnut Hill in a 2-0 victory. No hits.
So none? Not a single hit?
No hits.
Okay.
Senior Krista McGaughy was 2 for 3 and drove in both Eagle runs. Chip, could the Eagles pitch their way to a victory in their final game in Orlando?
I know I can. I can't do that fancy pitch motion. The Eagles played their last game of their Florida trip against Nebraska Omaha on Sunday. The Eagles received another strong pitching performance from Hendricks, but couldn't get the big hits they needed to as they lost the game 3-1. The Eagles ended their trip with a record of 8-6. The team will look to continue their success on the arms of their 3 good pitchers, Hersey, Hendricks, and Shannon Gray. The team will next compete Tuesday, March 25th at Tiffin, with their home opener coming next Thursday, the 27th. Ashland will open up GLIAC play next Saturday at home against Hillsdale.
After their most successful fall season in school history, when they went 16-4, the Eagle tennis team has picked up where they left off for their spring season. They won 4 consecutive matches against Mount Union 6-3, Oberlin 8-1, Worcester 9-0, and Ohio Wesleyan 7-2. Then, like the baseball and softball teams, they migrated south for spring break to Hilton Head, South Carolina. The Eagles split their first 2 matches in the warmth with Slippery Rock and Charleston. On March 11th, Ashland squared off with Berea's Baldwin Wallace. They knocked off the Yellow Jackets 7-2. The Eagles swept the doubles matches. Teams of Catherine Gowdy and Megan Stahl, Margaret Pepino and Corin Pasley, and Chelsea Guerin and Krista Halicki were all winners. Pepino, Gowdy, and Pasley won singles matches in straight sets. Chelsea Guerin dropped the first game of her match 6-4, but rallied in the second set and tiebreak, winning 6-3 and 10-5. So did the Eagles make some racket in their last match, Chip?
Well, Ashland did not want to end their Hilton Head trip last Wednesday with a loss at all. In fact, all the Eagles won as they swept East Stroudsburg 9-0. The win improved the Eagles to 3-1 on their trip and an outstanding 23-5 overall record on the season. The Eagles did play a match against Walsh last night, but the results were not available in time for this show. The Eagles will end their regular season on April 5th at the Oberlin Invitational. Brendan, I don't know if you know this, but there is a tournament starting up tomorrow evening, and I got a question for you is, who are your Final Four teams, and who is your surprise team to watch?
You're talking about the NIT, right?
No, the NIT started yesterday, actually.
Okay. I've got my Final Four teams. I've got 3 2 seeds and a 1 seed. I'm going to go with UCLA, and then my 3 2 seeds are Tennessee, Texas, and Georgetown. I really like Georgetown. They come out strong with, I think they have Allen Iverson or something, and Patrick Ewing.
Patrick Ewing does play, but Allen Iverson not so much.
Roy Hibbert is definitely strong in the middle for them. And my surprise team, though, is Notre Dame with Luke Herringody. He can take over some games. He's averaging a double-double this season.
Okay, my Final Four picks are a little different than Brendan over here. I got UNC, then I have Kansas, UCLA, and Texas. I'm going with 3 ones.
It doesn't happen often.
It's crazy, but I think UCLA, Duke's not any good. I think UNC can go through their bracket. I think they might have trouble with Butler, who's my surprise team. I think they're a 7 seed. I think they can make it to the Elite 8 and maybe give UNC some problems. But besides that, I think the ones are the best teams. UCLA, Kansas, and UNC are the best teams in the bracket, I think.
That's the reason they're the ones, I guess.
I guess it is. Well, that's all the time we have. I hope everyone has a wonderful Easter holiday. Kid, why don't you let the viewers know when we'll next be on?
We will be back with another edition of Game Time Situation on Wednesday, April 9th. Spring sports will be in mid-season, and we will have plenty to talk about.
Sounds exciting. We will also have the return of the Game Time Spotlight as we put another athlete underneath the bright lights.
So, did I do well enough to earn another big spot on the top desk?
Well, I guess we'll just have to let the people decide. We'll see you in 3 weeks.
Have a good night, everyone.